enormous.
You can meet the whales, giants of the deep at the Museum of Victoria now.
Pretty cool.
Charles Bronson, the vigilante, is back.
I'll handle this my own way, no interference from you.
Death wish.
Good evening, I'm Sandra Sully. This is the Late Night News. Heading the Late Night News, John Howard's industrial relations...
off under his government.
I give this rock-solid guarantee our policy will not cause a cut in the take-home pay of Australian workers.
For a surprisingly small audience of young Liberals, Mr Howard announced the end of Labor's enterprise bargain agreements, replaced by the Liberals' Australian workplace agreements, and strikes banned during the life of the agreement. A new employment advocate will offer advice.
...himself in. Johnson was arrested at a Canberra hotel on Saturday after telephoning the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation. He said a person named Mark Johnson had come to Canberra to assassinate Mr Keating. The court was told Johnson allegedly told arresting officers he wanted to die because he wanted Satan and God to come to Earth and fight the Holy War. To come to Earth and fight the Holy War. Has died tonight at the age of 79. He ended 14 years in office last year, clearly suffering the ravages of prostate cancer. The former French president underwent intensive chemotherapy treatment in 1994 as Britain's symbolic joining with Europe. Inspired by socialism, Mitterrand survived almost 50 years of politics. He became a member of parliament in 1946 before becoming France's first socialist president in 1981. Keen to keep France as a leader in the European community, Mitterrand made his mark, becoming one of the major players on the world stage and making allies of Gorbachev, Bush, Kohl and Thatcher.
He might hear you in the 80s. To No Worries and A Country Life in the 90s. His role was always memorable.
Work stopped at midnight last night as negotiations between Qantas and the flight attendants union throughout the weekend failed to reach agreement. At issue, the formula for determining overseas meal allowances, the union says Qantas management is breaking the award. For passengers, a long wait was ahead.
We wake up so early and then now we have to wait here.
We are really angry, that's right.
Sydney, after an 18-hour flight from the United States, their destination, Perth, on an international service.
They're at the airport for a day with nothing to do.
Meanwhile, the attendants held their stop work meeting, voting to return to work at 2:30 this afternoon, upright because of the stoppage. Despite the return to work, it's not an immediate return to normal. Qantas says it'll take
Australia. A budget battle between President Clinton and the Republican Congress cut funds for many US public service activities for the past 3 weeks.
You can earn Qantas frequent flyer points every time you use the American Express card, simply by enrolling in the American Express Membership Rewards Program. Then, every purchase you make with the card can give you frequent flyer points so you can take off on free Qantas flights sooner. To apply for the American Express card or join Membership Rewards, simply call 1-800-80-2020.
It started with Silence of the Lambs. Then came Seven. Now, Fright has a brand new name. Copycat. Sigourney Weaver, Holly Hunter, Harry Connick Jr. Copycat.
Is terrifying elderly residents in Melbourne's southeastern suburbs. 8 homes have been set ablaze in a spate of attacks, the latest on an elderly Oakley woman who was trapped in her burning home.
Time to smash a glass window and drag the Polish migrant uninjured from her burning house. The woman's family condemned the cowardly attack.
I just don't reckon they should be on the surf if they want to do this. She's an 80-year-old lady. She hasn't caused any trouble to anyone.
There have been 8 similar attacks on the elderly in the last month, all within a 5-kilometre radius. Some of the attacks have taken place in broad daylight. Police suspect the arsonists will often stalk their victims before striking.
It's a storm of...
Standstill.
Weathermen say it's a storm of historic proportions. The US Capitol wearing the worst of it. Skiers taking to Washington streets, only yesterday they were on bikes. Also braving the conditions, the President and First Lady, who trudged through the knee-deep snow on their way to church. Anywhere was just plain dangerous.
Australian boy was mauled by a tiger today at Western Plains Zoo near Dubbo in the central west of New South Wales. Open to the public this morning. The boy is aged about 7 or 8 and was visiting Dubbo from Bunbury. Australian boys have died from a deadly brain-eating virus. Scientists cannot pinpoint its source and no effective treatment has been found.
Since the bug was identified in 1965. Since the bug was identified in 1965. The parasite is a more virulent strain of the common waterborne amoeba discovered by an Adelaide researcher in the 1960s. The amoeba balamuthia, which attacks the brain, killed 2 5-year-old boys last year, one in South Australia and the other in Tasmania. Authorities managed to kill the original form of amoeba 30 years ago simply by chlorinating our water supply. But the new strain of amoeba has not been found in our water and could be spread through soil or by air.
Chamberlain's son Regan is reported to have said he remembers a dingo walking over him 16 years ago. The Australian share market was pushed to a 23-month high by a surge of interest in gold.
It's 1996, but to most computers it is simply 96. In just under 4 years at the end of 1999, while humans will know the year changes to 2000, many computers will think the new year is 00.
We're seeing perhaps the most interest or focused from things like the banking industry, the financial services, and the insurance industry.
Time now for a roundup of the weather across Australia, and cloudy was the word for every major city in the east. The maximum temperatures ranging from 33 degrees in Cairns down to Hobart's 18. It's 10 now for Sports Tonight with Matthew White. I'm Sandra Sully. Thanks for your company tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow.
In the Sports Tonight Late edition, January 8th, the Sri Lankans call play on. Their beleaguered spinner will roll his arm over again.